This is a horrible story about Mercedes-Benz, and in particular my car, an E220, a Coupe that I bought from a dealer which has now gone into administration. I bought the car in 2023, although it feels as though I've had it for years because I've spent most of the time arguing with garages, even escalating to the financial and the motoring ombudsman. This particular incident relates to a recall on the car which has been widely publicised, which is a NOx sensor. This is relating to the fuel, and when the NOx sensor is faulty on the car, you receive a message and an engine management warning light saying that the AdBlue needs replacing or topping up, but even after doing that, the light remains permanently on, which will mean that the car cannot pass an MOT, which I found out to my sorrow. Having paid for 2 MOTs, and on both occasions it failed, I then read up on the issue and realised it may be something to do with this, and I took my car to Mercedes-Benz, Cheltenham and Gloucester. They ran a full diagnostic and told me the NOx sensor needed replacing. I checked that on the Mercedes app, and indeed it said on the Mercedes app, using my VIN, my vehicle identification number, that the NOx sensor did indeed need replacing, and as it stated on the app, Mercedes would do this at no cost. However, the Cheltenham and Gloucestershire branch of Mercedes claimed that the NOx sensor had already been replaced on the car prior to my having owned it, something I did not know or had any evidence of, but on some super stalky computer they pulled up evidence they claim saying that this was indeed the case, and therefore they charged me £749 to replace the NOx sensor on the vehicle. I was understandably very upset about that, but had to pay it in order to get my key back and leave the Mercedes dealership. This was 2 weeks ago. When I went to leave the Mercedes dealership, my car would not start. Rather concerned at this, I went back into the dealership and explained to somebody that it was having problems. That person came out with me and experienced the same issue, but also said that the power steering or the steering lock was not in place either, which was rather strange. They suggested I returned home and maybe try the alternative spare key for the car, which I did, and which made no difference. So I have had a very sporadic, maybe 1 in 10 times, that the car would start with the ignition key, normally by wobbling or greatly shifting the steering around whilst trying to start the car. Managed to start it a few occasions, and now I have returned to the Mercedes-Benz garage to try and clear the matter up. My problem being that I believe prior to the NOx sensor being replaced, this was not an issue. Certainly I'd only experienced it very occasionally, and that was at the time that the AdBlue NOx sensor was faulty. I'd also noted that when I had gone to the garage the first occasion, a full diagnostic had been run which did not pick up any issue with the ignition or indeed the power steering lock. So I'm now at the dealership and I am trying to get justice. This is Moneypenny Media reporting on justice, financial justice for little people against big corporations. Let's see what happens.